everyone, this is Nick from Tenacity.ai, and I'm with my co-host, Jason, and you're listening to the Cloud Cost Optimization Podcast. Today, we're going to dive into a topic that, Jason and I have been in the industry a long time. We've been in the provider space, specifically around cloud hosting and secure cloud hosting. And we wanted to touch on a topic we've been hearing or engaging in the conversation more and more in our prospects and partner conversations and so on. And that's around how do professional services, consulting, AWS partners, Microsoft partners, managed service partners bring a FinOps service to market. So this has been a topic in several recent conversations. And we're starting to hear it pick up more and more. How do you do this? And should they do it? So I think, to kick off the topic, Jason, what has been the traditional approach for these organizations to public cloud? So you go from, maybe you have a managed service around security or managed service around private cloud hosting. Maybe it's even organizations that have been in kind of the traditional kind of all IT bucket, IT management. What has been their transition into public cloud, and is that working?
Well, I think what is working, I don't know what the entire market looks like, but from the providers that we see that are these service providers that we see are growing at ridiculous rates, right? The one thing that they have in common is that part of the service that they provide around managing a customer's cloud infrastructure includes the alignment with the FinOps model, right? Because they've, from a technical perspective, they've been asked to provide security, you mentioned it, monitoring, first responder, these things that we're historically accustomed to. But if I'm managing this entire thing for my customer anyway, then I'm going to be the place that they're going to look for to provide me the data around where all my costs are going, making sure that I'm running at an optimal level and all these things. So what we're seeing now is the expansion of what customers are expecting their service providers to do, to include not just the security, monitoring, and all of these things, but it includes informing me of where all my costs are going, optimizing my environment, as well as making sure that I'm operating it on an ongoing basis so I understand anomalies, I understand where I am at to my forecasted budget, et cetera, things like that. So what we're seeing is, I think, what we hear common with these providers is that my customers are driving me towards needing this data. And because I'm the one managing it for them, they're looking to me to provide it. And so the successful ones are allowing their customers to really dictate their product roadmap, right? It becomes part of their service. We're going to ensure that you're always saving this amount of money on whatever X, Y, or Z spend, and we're going to ensure that we understand where your spend anomalies are so that you can be notified before it becomes an issue, and so on and so forth.
I think, there's two places where these organizations have come from. One of them is the digital transformation or cloud transformation space. A lot of these organizations saw their leap to public cloud was, we're going to help organizations make the transition from private cloud or their own cloud into the public cloud space. And those organizations, the common refrain was, we want to turn that into a sticky, not all of them, but many of them, they want to turn it into a sticky relationship with that customer. The second set of organizations are offering a managed service and are finding that I think anyway, and correct me if I'm mistaken here, but are finding that service of just managing, quote unquote, the environment is not as sticky as they had anticipated, or not as great of a need. And I think that the opportunity that I see in the market in having conversations, both with partners, with AWS, with prospects as well, as we talk to organizations through the lens of Tenacity AI, and many of them do have a partner that's managing their environment. And when we ask, well, who's managing your spend optimization? Their answer is that they don't know. Or when we specifically talk about, is the partner doing that for you? The answer is generally no.
Right.
And so I can't help but see there's this missing opportunity where we know successful organizations that are doing this. Why are so many of them not jumping onto? There's this really sticky opportunity. When you think about managing cloud spend, and if you can be the organization that consistently delivers savings and the ability to keep cloud costs under control, that's a really sticky way to stay with your customer, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, if what we're also seeing is more and more organizations outsourcing cloud stuff in general, right? I mean, just let's say cloud stuff in general. And so if I'm already making the decision to outsource the management of my cloud environment, including monitoring, security of, et cetera, right? Then why would I want to develop my own internal processes to making sure that that environment is optimized, right? I mean, to me, it is now and should be a part of any service provider's offering to their customer. I mean, that's the value in which you're giving them is, one, not only will you have a secure environment that will always be monitored, that you will always get a call in the middle of the night if something goes wrong, but also that it's running in the most optimal way, which includes leveraging all of the different savings instruments within my environment, and that we're also going to be notifying you if anything goes awry in this environment, not just security related, but spend related, because that is just as important to a company's bottom line as being protected from a vulnerability, right? At the end of the day, because you could have one thing that spikes in cost because of one mistake made that could eat up all the budget for the rest of the quarter. So to me, it's a natural progression to anybody outsourcing, any facet of their cloud environment to a service provider.
It's not just savings too. It's the predictability. It's the accountability. It's that service provider providing that benefit to that customer, making sure the environment is well tagged, understanding the business and being able to provide reporting back from a spend perspective in a business context, so that now the business, the service as a service provider that you're delivering, is that now the business can actually see infrastructure costs down. You can go very refined down to a very atomic level of understanding those costs and the context of those costs inside of the business. So now I can we got to get a handle on spending and controlling costs and so on, but then I can actually start to align, do I have the right unit economics for my product? Is my cloud spending growing in alignment with my revenue, right? There's so much more intelligence, there's so much more power there that a service provider can start to offer an organization once they have their hands around that data and delivering a really solid service.
Well, just think about it this way too. If we're a service provider and we're offering this, and I could have if we were, and we could have a statement as powerful as like, let us manage this. Not only will it be secure, not only will it be monitored, not only will you have all of those things that you just mentioned, but we're also going to save you more money than you're going to pay us. That's the reality of the situation, is that you're, as a service provider, you're in a position to be able to market this as a way for them to essentially pay for your service. That's extremely powerful. And there aren't many organizations out there that would say, nah, I'd rather build it myself internally. Go, and if they do make that decision, keep their number handy, because in a few months, they're going to realize how hard it is to do this. So strategically, service providers are in a really, really great position. If they can get a hold of this up front and understand really how it contributes to the bottom line, then they can basically give their prospects and customers a way for them to essentially pay for the entire management of their cloud infrastructure just by choosing you.
I agree. Here's the reality. We were in the service provider space. We understand this. We've been in the consulting space for quite a while. The reality is the need for a person to monitor an environment, to make a phone call in the middle of the night, is going away.
Correct.
That is automatable.
Correct.
And I think that for the service providers who are shaking your heads right now and going, no, my values in my white glove service, my ability to deliver the best customer service experience that no machine automation can deliver, is that, well, the customer that you're not achieving right now who has that automated doesn't ever know they're missing a customer experience, because an exceptional customer experience, because they don't have they don't have the incidents anymore to need to experience that, because the environment has been automated in such a way that so much of it is self-healing and self-correcting. And that is the reality of app modernization. That is the reality of going to serverless infrastructure, is that the application responds to the issues in the environment. Does it respond to all of them? Well, no. And that's where your power is, but make yourself really sticky so that you're there delivering an exceptional experience, whether or not there's a problem in the environment for which the environment needed to be monitored. Instead, you're providing a proactive service that helps the business. Jason, any other parting thoughts?
Man, I think the best parting thought they could have is this will help you close more business. Adopting this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, and listen, I don't pitch tenacity often on the Cloud Cost Optimization podcast because we want to remain a little neutral here. But if you're a service provider and you don't yet offer this, or you're thinking about offering this, you need to talk to us, and you need to check out Tenacity AI, because this is what we do.
No pressure. Let's just have a conversation. They can do it with a spreadsheet. We'll help them out with that too. So,
yeah, absolutely. Perfect. All right. Well, I think that wraps the show for today. Stay tuned. More great topics. We're going to cover off on a few more minutes. We're going to have some interviews coming up. One with our chief engineer that will be coming in the next couple of weeks, as well as some folks that are in the space who've been inside of the big providers who are really doing this day to day. So tune in to the Cloud Cost Optimization podcast and check us out at tenacity.ai for more information. Thanks so much.